In the last video, we got the artillery turret, I guess I should say. We got the turret working. And we've got our clamp now, and that actually looks really pretty good. And so it's time to move on to the next thing, which is more than likely going to be to fire a projectile at our enemy. And I think before we do that even, we're going to want to add some crosshairs so that we can aim effectively. And so why don't we start with that, because that's really pretty easy. All you really need for this is a graphic that will serve that purpose. So let me go find one. Of course, in the real world, you would want to find one that had been cleared of any and all copyright concerns, but I'm just going to go find something that I can use. And I'm going to punch in here crosshair ping and see what I actually, you know what I ought to do? I should go try Open Game Art first. And let's see if there's anything in here that I can use. It's a good site. One of the things you have to remember, though, if you're going to use Open Game Art, is a lot of this is open source, which means necessarily that it's strictly free. It is free, but open source usually can also come with liabilities as well. For example, if it's published under GPL, any of the GPL licenses, you really need to check that, because if you're going to charge for your game, the GPL license may have implications that prevent you from doing that. So just be careful. And this might work if those have alpha channels on them. Let's see if we have something with alpha channels on it. If not, then I'll just do what I usually do and just search the World Web and just come up with the first thing that I can find. But let's see. Oh, these look okay. I've unzipped it, and those actually look pretty cool. So we'll pick one of these. I kind of like this one. And let me just open this in Photoshop real quick to make sure that we have a clean channel on this. And there it is, and it looks like we do, so this will work nicely. So let me bring this into Unity. In case you're wondering, let me zoom in on this. Actually, I'm not going to zoom in on it, I'm just going to tell you. Open Game Art, /content, alien crosshairs. And I'll make an annotation in the video when I edit it so you can see it a little easier. Or just go to opengameart.org and do what I did. Just search for crosshairs up here in the search box, and you should be able to get it. All right. So let me move this over here a little bit, and let me bring up project. Here we go, and I'm just going to grab this. I'll drag it and drop it in here, and there it is. And I'm going to need to change this from texture to Sprite 2D and UI, and hit apply, and then it will look like I expect it to. And now I can just move this out. I'm going to rename it because it got kind of a weird name, to crosshair. And let me put that here. Actually, that's probably not going to work the way I had hoped. That's all right. I'll get rid of it. Seems like that's how I used to do this, but since they've changed the way this stuff works, we'll use GUI for this. So we'll just put an image in here. We'll create the canvas system and all of that neat stuff for us. Let's switch to 2D mode and press F so that we can find our image. And our image is going to be our crosshair. So I'm going to drag this crosshair. I'm going to drop it right here in source image. So let me do that. Drag and drop, and now there it is. And that's probably going to be a bit large, so let me switch back over to the game view, and it's probably not going to be where I want it either. So let me make my game view a little bit smaller, and let me zoom out, and so we can see what we're looking at here. And we have this odd perspective, so what we really do is set a perspective for this. And by perspective, I'm really trying to say aspect ratio. Let me come down here and set it to, we'll set it to standalone. That's probably going to look terrible. Let me just look. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the 1024, but I think for demonstration purposes, it'll be okay. So that's all right. So that will at least give us some place where we can put this. So I really want this to be right smack in the middle for now. And we'll probably have to make some adjustments on how that works, or where it's positioned based on where our shots actually wind up going. But that's probably right where we want it. Maybe a little higher than that, because we're going to be sort of lobbing these shells. So I'm going to bring this up. Okay, and here's another problem we're going to run into. Remember, we set our range to positive and minus 30. It looks like 30 is probably not going to be good enough to get this guy when he comes around the mountain. So we're probably going to have some adjustments to do anyway. So there's our gun sight, and that's not half bad for 5 minutes of work. Remember, when you make your adjustments while playing, you're going to lose them as soon as you stop. So let me move this back up like that. And probably that will be great. And that is pretty much it. So we've got the gun sight in place. And so in the next video, we'll actually start building the projectiles. It's going to be the exact same thing that we did with the scorpion, with the bad guy. Just going to make the exact same thing, but we'll do that in the next video.